Solveig Løvseth, to have you back on the podcast. We had an agreement the last time we spoke that if you won Ironman Hamburg, that I would invite you back. But I really, with what you did there, we had to get your own words of this race. Fastest ever Ironman debut, and just a crazy race all in all.
Yeah, thank you for having me back.
When did you come back to Norway?
Tuesday evening.
Okay.
I had a really long layover in Stockholm. I had like 7 hours there on the way back.
So the race is still in the legs, or?
I feel actually quite good now. Like the legs were quite sore for the first 2 days, but yesterday when I was running it felt alright. I think it helps that the run course is it's not kind of the hardest run course for the legs because it is some gravel in there, and yeah, that definitely helps. But and like energy wise as well, I feel good now. But I talked to my coach about it, and he said that for him it's usually the fatigue is usually worst like a week after the race almost. Yeah. So I'm still taking it really easy now just to be sure that I really recover from the race.
Before we begin to talk about the race itself, your Instagram account, I believe it has just exploded after what you demonstrated. So how much in numbers have you gone up? Have you checked?
Oh, I don't know exactly, but I think I probably like my followers have probably doubled or something. It wasn't really much from the beginning, but still, yeah, it's a bit weird, I think, in a way. And like the weirdest part is just I've gotten a lot of messages, which is really overwhelming in a way. To get so much response from both from people I know and people I look up to, and also from a lot of people I don't know. So it's been really cool and overwhelming as well to just see that I'm just racing for fun, and to get messages that it inspire others is really special.
We the last interview we did, we shared a reel as a collab, and I could just I checked it out. I think it had about 5,000 views, which was really good after the first interview. And in the Hamburg weekends, in the 24 hours after that, it gained like 5,000 views more alone from this race. So you can just see, if you look on the graph, that it's just exploding. So that must be amazing, but also a bit crazy. Like 10 years into your career, that you gain like fame overnight, more or less.
Yeah, it feels really weird because, as you are saying, I've done triathlon for a long time. So and I'm really happy with my race, but I was still like only third, and I was quite far behind the two in front. So it's really, for me, it's almost weird in a way to get so much attention for this race, but it's also really cool.
Records and fast times, is that age group stuff, or that doesn't matter to you? Because of course I've been checking out, like only 3 or 4 women in the world have ever gone as fast as you've gone there. It's like if you combine Roth and some of the Ironman races, it's like the 5th fastest or 6th fastest time ever. So it's really an incredible performance.
Yeah, thank you. I think we talked a bit about that last time as well, that times not necessarily is what I do care the most about, but of course it's cool to have a fast time and cool to run a fast marathon, for instance, but I think for me it's more, I look more on like how I do compared to the others. So like how my performance is compared to, for instance, Kat and Laura's performances. So I think I look more into that because the courses are always different. They can be, I think this course is like both the bike and run is a little bit short, but also the transitions are really long.
Exactly.
So I guess that's like even it's out a bit, but of course it's fun to do have a fast time as well, and it's cool that the Hamburg course does it possible to go really fast.
Exactly. And I just finished listening to one other podcast talking about you before this race didn't have a bike sponsor. So I'm wondering, did your email account or telephone buzzing from companies want to sign you? I don't know. Have you had time to look into that, or have you left that part to other people to focus on sponsor deal and stuff like that?
I've gotten a couple messages, and it's in a way I felt it was quite nice to go into this season without much sponsors, just because then I have more options later, right? So now I'm sort of, I have all options available, I feel like, and it's nice to, I don't feel like I need to hurry with making any decisions. Just want to take my time and see what brand suits me, and also of course which brands that are interested. But I just signed with a management yesterday actually, so it will also be nice to get some help on that side.
Yeah.
For me, I think the training is the most fun, so all the other things are more like
Oh, fantastic, and congratulations.
You sort of have to deal with, but it's all, of course, nice to have more options than I maybe have had in short course. So
perfect. I love it. And let's talk about the race itself, because I've already had one of the fastest age groupers on the race. We talked a little bit about their leading into the race the day before, thunder showers, people, being on the phone early in the morning to know what was going on. You coming from Norway, being quite the rainy place, I believe that you were able to keep calm, or can you describe race morning for you?
Yeah, that was interesting. I felt quite calm, but I was I'm usually really, really slow in transition. Like I use a lot of time to just check everything, and I'm really like all over the place sort of person, I feel like, and it's so easy for me to forget to do things, and I'm usually like a lot back and forth, and I feel like I'm always using the most time of everyone in transition. So it was definitely like a challenge for me, that I knew that I really don't have time for this today, since the transition opened 30 minutes before the race started. And it was also like the bikes are almost basically a K away from the swim start as well. So you had like half an hour to check your bike and then walk to the swim start, put on your wetsuit and everything. And I've never been faster in transition. So
and this is your first Ironman, I believe. So everybody, every age grouper who have, tried Ironman, even you being a professional, that's always a little bit of extra nervousness. So with this stress on top of this, I can't even imagine how you must have felt.
Well, it was actually a bit nice in a way as well that you had to do everything fast, right? Because then you didn't really have time to think much. And in a way, I feel like it's less stressful to do something you haven't done before. Because then you don't really know what to expect, and you don't really feel any pressure of doing it in this and this way, because you're just going to try it almost for the first time. So I wouldn't say I was that stressed. And also, I think with the Ironman distance, it's so long, so it's no point of being like really stressed from the start, because you're gonna have so much time out there anyway, and like if you make a mistake, you will still have a lot of time to make up for it in a way. Like in short course, I feel like you can just destroy a race so easily by doing one mistake, and that can make you lose the bike group, for instance. But here you have so much time to kind of make up for it if you do something wrong. So that also really helps me not getting that nervous. I think like the most challenging thing before the start was like you had to walk through the whole transition, and it was super long. And since they opened the transition that late, like everyone was in transition at the same time, so all the age groupers as well, and a lot of them started later, right? So
so you had to be a little pushy, say
yeah,
hello.
and I needed to like walk past or like through all the age groupers basically, and just like trying to sort of wrestling my way through there. And I was so stressed because then I was just looking at the time, like 10 minutes till the start, and I didn't have my wetsuit on, and I had still like quite far to walk, so that was maybe the most stressful thing.
I think some of the guys from Pro Tri News mentioned that you were a little bit in doubt about your tire pressure, talking about before the race. So was that also, you know, a little bit about the nerves that you knew by heart fairly what you were going to do, but you were so stressed maybe, so you kind of needed other people to help you a little bit about making a decision? I don't know.
I think I'm usually a person that always asks for a second opinion on most things. Really, if they hadn't given me an answer, as you say, I would still have had like a feeling of what pressure I wanted to have. But it's also nice to just ask someone, and if they sort of say the same that I was thinking myself, then I'm feeling more sure about the decision. And especially since it was raining a bit that morning, and I wasn't quite sure like how slippery the German roads would be in like the city and stuff. And so I'm really not afraid of asking questions like that. I think it's always nice to get more people's view on things, and I felt like they have control of what they're doing, so why not ask?
I have a little bit of geeky question, because actually the guy I had on the Danish age grouper, he was actually the guy who had the fastest bike split overall, Morten Falk Jensen, former Olympian rower, I think his his tire pressure were like 5.2 or something like that, which is quite low, I believe. So how much tire pressure were you riding with, if you want to share that number?
I was just following what Mark said. So I think they said 70 psi.
Yeah.
I also usually look at the bar, but they said it in psi, so then I.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what.
I think that's a bit. It's pretty much the same. It's a bit more than 5, I think, as well.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a big, because you know back in the days you were always like pump it to 8 or something. You know, it's super hard, but people don't do that anymore. And of course also when the surface is slippery and puncture and stuff like that can happen. So you won't pump it as hard, I believe.
No, and especially they've just done more research on it, and like the rolling resistance gets lower if it's just a little bit less pressure in the tires, and as well with just the comfort of it. And of course the tires are usually wider now as well. Like before, people rode like 23 or even like 21, 22. So it has definitely changed.
About the swim, rough conditions, people didn't swim super fast in general. What was the feeling like for you?
I really enjoy the swim, actually, which I don't really do that often in triathlon. But I just, before the start, I saw Kat to the left of me, and I just saw like which color she had on the cap, and then I was thinking like, in the races we have done earlier, like where both have raced, she has swam a bit faster than me. But what maybe helped me a bit in this race was that it wasn't any really good swimmers. So usually if it's a bigger, like a few better swimmers, maybe Kat can get on the feet of some swimmers that are like a bit better than her, and then she can get the drop from them, and then she can sort of swim a bit faster than she usually would do, and then it would be quite hard for me to get on the feet of that again. But here Kat actually led the swim for most of it, and then it was like a pace that I felt like I could actually hold quite comfortably. I did use maybe, I don't know, 500 meters or something. I'm just guessing. I have no idea how long it really was, but to just get on her feet. So I was swimming quite hard just in the beginning, but after I sort of managed to get on her feet, the pace felt all right, and I think we were 4 people that got a little gap, and Kat was leading most of it. I was usually in her feet, and I had somebody behind me. I'm not sure who it was, but like that was touching my feet on like every stroke, so I was a bit annoyed by that.
Yeah.
But except for that, it was really nice because you had a bit more time to just kind of enjoy it, because in shorter distances I feel like the swim is really stressful, and if you have more people around it's more chaotic. But we were a quite small group, and just I think the swim there is really cool, that you're swimming in sort of this lake in the middle of the town, so every time you like look up to navigate or something, you will see like a lot of iconic buildings in the background.
Yeah.
And when we approached the end of the swim, every time I was breathing, I just heard so much noise as well, because there was so many spectators there. So yeah, cool experience.
Cool atmosphere. And you've also, I believe, in your short course career, Hamburg is one of the biggest races in the world. So you've used to race there quite a lot, I believe. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I actually haven't done that race many times, but I did it 2 years ago. So that was it was a super sprint that year, and I really enjoyed it that year as well. It was
love it.
Yeah, a lot of super big crowds, and just a really cool place to race. And the course was basically the same, just much shorter, right? So it was really cool to be back. I even stayed at the same hotel, so
I love it. Out of Kat and Laura and you, you are the one who have been racing the most short distance, and have the importance of being quick in transition fresh in memory. So did you have a little bit of an advantage there, maybe in the first transition to the bike?
I don't know. I felt like I was quite surprised that I was actually sort of leading it out of that first transition, because I was really unsure like what pace I should run, and it was such a long run as well, right? And I'm still not fully used to that bag system in Ironman, where it's like first one bag and you need to put it back in place and then you run to the bike. But felt alright, and I was really happy with the position I was in at that time, and that I sort of had control on the others where they were. So
and of course, Laura and Kat were, eyeballing one another. They really wanted to let the other one go, and you could like benefit a little bit from this, and were leading for the first part, really pushing. But then, bad luck, suddenly stroke, and your aero bar twisted all the way around, and it looked awful. And I don't know what it was live on TV, so people could follow. What went through your mind, because you were giving thumbs up and smiling like this was no big deal, but really now we can be honest with one another. Were you sort of panicking at that moment? I don't know.
I actually wasn't panicking. I think, and I wouldn't say it's bad luck either. It's probably just like my bad mechanical skills. And I had actually planned to just bring like a multi-tool or something with me on the bike, just in case something happened, because it was like, especially in the beginning of the course, it was a couple of sections with cobbles and stuff where if the screws aren't tight enough, they can get loose, right? And especially, I think it's a bit hard to tighten the screws properly when they're also a carbon there, so I'm afraid to like destroy something. And, but yeah, when it came loose, in the beginning it was just like loose, but I could still be in it, like still lay down in the bars. It was just, I just felt that it was really loose. And then I was just thinking like, oh no, do I need to ride with a loose bar for like 180k? But then it started to just flip more and more, and the screw was still tight enough that I wasn't actually able to like pull it back again. So, but in a way it felt better when it was like super in the wrong position, because then I was thinking like, okay, but now I really have to stop and fix it at some point, because I can't ride like this the whole way. But I think what helped is, as you said, that as I said earlier, that it's such a long race. Even though you have problems, it's still not over in a way. You still have many hours left of the race, and since it was my first race, I was sort of just there to enjoy it in a way. And
exactly,
I'm actually surprised that I generally wasn't like stressed or pissed off, or I was a bit annoyed that I had forgotten to bring the multi-tool that I had planned to bring. But except for that, I was just like, oh well, this is the situation now. And in a way, it was sort of fun as well because, as you were saying, I really noticed that just both Laura and Kat, they really didn't want to be in the front because they were just so focused on each other. But I obviously didn't want to be in the front either. And I was thinking like, it's really silly of me to be in the front because I'm gonna stop soon anyway. And when I stop, I need to like go harder to catch them. So I should definitely not be in the front. And it doesn't make sense to have me in the front either because I can't stay that aero anymore. So, somehow I still ended up being at the front a lot because I'm still not that used to being in a group and need some more experience with the race ranger. So I would sometimes just get a red light and then you have to pass, right? And every time I passed, I felt like I was riding quite easy in the front, just waiting for them to pass me, but they just stayed behind me. So I was actually sort of surprised by that, like that they wanted me to be in the front when it was so easy for them to stay behind me. So I think we also lost quite much time on the people chasing us on the first lap because nobody seemed to want to do any work. So
I'm wondering about the mechanical part. Were there a tent, or were you able to speak to people on the bike, a motor, anyone? To tell them that you were really in need of mechanical help.
Yeah, I did talk to both the media guys and also the referee, and both of them said they would call the mechanic, and I think they did, but I think the mechanic just was really far behind or something because he never catched up. So, but since they said they had called him, I was all the way just waiting for him to arrive really soon. So I definitely didn't expect that I was gonna. I actually rode 45k without the bar at all. So it was actually a quite long section of the race,
really?
and I was at that point I was just fascinated that I was still able to like bike with Laura and Kat quite comfortably.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people.
When I eventually stopped, like I think mechanic first didn't see the problem, so he just tightened the screws and he was like, "Is it okay now?" And I was just like, "No, it's still upside down."
Oh, great!
So then he had to loose it again and turn it the right way and tighten. But he was really fast when he did that, so I actually didn't lose much time. So. But again, I was still surprised how easy it was for me to get back up with Kat and Laura because they were still riding quite. Because I didn't even ride that hard, but I think they were still just kind of playing around. So then when I came up to them, then I felt like, okay, this is actually quite cool. I was able to get back into the race after that. So then I felt really good.
Didn't actually because I was wondering. How many watts did you have to push to get up there? But from what you're telling me, it was no big deal, really.
No, I think I was sort of debating different tactics with myself if I were going to go really hard or if I'm just would try to ride sort of my watts. I think I rode maybe like 10 watts more than what I was sort of planning to ride, so just like a little bit harder than the rest of it, but
really?
Still I felt really in control and I was surprised how fast I catch them.
So were there on the second lap, a defining moment where one of you girls were trying to get rid of one another, or anything happened before the run, or was it more or less a waiting game all the way to T2?
Yeah, I think on the second lap, Kat got quite. She was done with that playing around thing, and she decided to just take more control of the race, which was really cool, I think. And I was mainly sitting in like second position at that time, and she was trying for quite a while and pushing much higher watts than on the first lap at least. So at that point I was quite tired, and I thought it was quite hard to follow her. But I was still like trying to for quite some while. But I think with like 20k to go, we hit an aid station, and I was not stopping, but like taking it really easy to get bottles. I'm still not really good at that either, so I'm like not the best at catching the bottles at high speed. So she got a little gap there because she didn't take any drinks. And for me at that point, I was actually sort of okay with her getting a gap. I think like looking back, maybe it would have been cool to try to follow her the whole way into T2, but I was still like a bit uncertain of how the riding would affect the marathon, since obviously it was my first race, and at that time I felt quite tired, and for me it was sort of like I didn't mind her getting a little gap. Like I honestly thought that she would run faster than me anyway, so in a way, yeah, I felt like I sort of let her go a bit, but for Laura that was behind me, I think that was not ideal for her, because then she had to pass me obviously, and I think she realized a bit too late that the gap was opening up, so then she really had to try to get back on Kat's wheel, but she wasn't able to do that either. But yeah, I think it was quite a really well-deserved gap for Kat at that point, because she had really worked hard for it, and obviously for Laura it's the risk you take when you are sitting in third position. It's always a risk that the person behind you are not following, so then she also had to work really hard for the last part. So yeah, I think it worked out fine. Maybe next time I will try to follow the whole way in. I think it was surprising to me how, when I started running, like how good that felt, because I was afraid that I was going to feel really hard because of the bike, but it just helps a lot to sort of change the movement form a bit. So when I started to run, I was just like, wow, this feels really good. So that's a good experience to have as well. I think that you can feel quite fatigued on the bike and then start running, you can just get a new start basically.
Yeah, I think you ran a 2:46, and Laura ran a 2:38 maybe, I believe.
Yeah, crazy.
So that that is absolutely crazy times. But we talked about you before this race. You didn't have a winning mindset. Of course, if the opportunity comes, you will grab the win. But you know, like going all out, take risks. You weren't willing to do that to go for a win here, maybe.
No, I think I'm willing to take risk up to a certain point. Like I did try to follow Kat for a while, but and it felt quite hard. But yeah, definitely not willing to take too big a risk when I don't know how it will affect the rest of the race, since it's such a long race and I haven't really done it before. And actually, out in the run, I was quite happy to start by myself, because especially when I heard how fast they were running in front. So my plan was just to like try to run around 4-minute pace from the start, and I basically did that. Maybe like some of the Ks were a bit faster in the beginning, but yeah, it felt really comfortable, and I just tried to hold that pace the whole way, and I ran quite even at least. So it was a really good experience, and maybe like next time I'll try to be a bit less conservative on the marathon. Try to maybe go a bit more for it, but like at a certain point in the race, I was just like I had a quite good gap to fourth place, and also it was a pretty big gap up till Kat and Laura. So I felt like the third place was really safe, and I'd also talked a bit to my coach about before the race that like if you don't have to, you don't really need to empty the tank like 100%, because it's still like such a long season to go, and it's really big difference in the recovery time if you're like completely smashed and if you just hold back like a little bit. But also, I was like really running. It felt really hard, so it wasn't that I was just taking it easy, but I think I could have gone like a little bit faster, maybe like at the 2 last laps, but it was definitely hard enough.
Absolutely amazing. So if we take the three of you pushing one another, also some tactical elements, slowing you a little bit down maybe, and compare that to, for instance, what Anna Haug did in Roth, where she went 8:02, like about 10 minutes or so faster than you did here. A more or less solo time trial race versus a technical race like this, would you maybe in theory be able to go much faster, do you believe, if you hadn't been the three of you pushing one another?
It's hard to say, but I think at least a little bit faster. Kat would probably have been able to go a lot faster, I think. But yeah, for sure. A bit faster on the first lap, definitely. And of course, I would have been faster if I had been aero the whole time and didn't have to stop as well. But and also I think I feel like I can improve a lot, or it's hard to know, of course, but just by getting a bit more like specific sessions in. I haven't really been training that much on this race power. I think like I didn't feel like I had the time to do that many specific sessions after Venice, and before Venice I just basically trained for that race and tried to get in shape basically. So I only had like 2 sessions where I was doing like this sort of power range, because I think most of my training earlier has been either really easy or more like 70.3 pace or threshold. So it also felt a bit weird to like riding this watt that was, it felt hard, but it still wasn't super hard, right? So I think also just by doing more training at that zone can make me more efficient and maybe make it easier for me to hold that watt longer or even increase it a bit. So it will be exciting for sure to see like if I can improve just by training more specifically for it.
Yeah, exactly. Because now we're talking about the World Championship, Kona. You are suddenly in the mix. People talk about you like one of the favorites. So what do you think about that?
I think it's weird because I was still quite far behind in this race. I think like I was 9
but your
minutes.
first time out, right? and you like
Yeah.
we could talk about your mechanical, the fact that you really hadn't trained that specifically, maybe not even heat preparing the amount that you would normally do. There's a lot of things that you can improve.
Yeah, and it's definitely exciting for sure to see that it's possible to get close to the front at least, and I still feel like I can improve quite much. So it will, for sure be exciting, and it's still a long time to go to Kona, so I still have some time to get better at the distance. So it will be really fun to see.
Is there a train race or maybe a 70.3 before Kona for you? Is there another race in the horizon?
I'm going to Fontremö now next week for training camp, and after that the plan is to do Lake Placid. I think it's 20th of July. So
the Ironman Lake Placid in
Yeah.
Perfect.
I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to do it. I wanted to see like after Hamburg, but it's a pro series race, and I think like I'm gonna do 2 70.3s and 2 Ironmans anyway. So I think it would be almost still in a way of me to like not do a 3rd Ironman, just to have the chance to get a good score in the pro series. So it's mainly the reason to go there for me, and to just give myself a good opportunity to get a good overall score there. And I think the pro series is really fun, but I didn't really want to commit to it before I did Hamburg, because I didn't know how I would like the full distance at all. So but now I feel like I want to do that race, so that's going to be the next, and then I'll probably do 170.3 as well. Not quite sure, but I think I'll do Selamsee in Austria. So that's also a pro series race. So it's cool to do the pro series races where you know that you're gonna have good fields. And if I do that, I also have 1 extra race. Then I do 6 races in total. So if something happens in Marbella, for instance, then I at least will have 5 counting races. So
Exactly.
That's the
But
plan right now.
about Lake Placid, it's like the polar opposite to Hamburg, with yeah, quite hilly, both bike and run course, I believe. So, what are your hopes for that? Because we've already seen what you were able to do in Hamburg. So, do you think that you can do more or less the same in Lake Placid?
Yeah, I honestly haven't looked at the course, but I did talk to Daniela Lewis in when I was in Hamburg, and she told me the course was really hilly there. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but I haven't really looked at the profile. But I like to race different courses, and
Yeah.
I think I could do quite well in hilly courses as well. I just haven't sort of showed it, but I do like a good descent, and I do like climbing as well, and it makes the race sort of more honest in a way as well. I think it's harder to just sit in as like it gets a little bit. The tactics get a little bit different as soon as you throw in some hills. So yeah, I'm excited to try that as well.
To show people on American soil what you're able to do. To get a new fan base. Maybe one of my final questions here. What surprised you the most from Ironman? Of course, we talked about you have been doing triathlon for many years, but the Ironman is always something special. So, what part of the distance surprised you the most? Both the setup and the experience itself.
Yeah, I think maybe that I found it quite fun was surprising in a
Yeah.
way, which is weird because I decided to race it and I didn't necessarily think I would like it that much. But
Yeah.
I enjoyed the race, and I think maybe what surprised me the most is actually that it's way more attention around it than I maybe had thought of at least. So
Yeah.
and just how much people care about it, and maybe especially the Germans are really invested, and it was just so much noise in the course, and which is quite impressive when you have like a 10K lap on the run course and it's still people everywhere cheering. So that definitely also helped me a lot on the last laps where I was starting to really feel it. So yeah,
It's
that was
amazing.
a good surprise.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm all out of questions, Solveig, and I think it's super interesting to hear. Of course, you can read about the race and make your own opinion, but to hear it from yourself, your personal experience, that's always yeah, gives another dimension to it. So thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for having me.